Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A little Jim Jones and Fabulous in honor of Frank from DeGod's shopping spree. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this is the NFT Morning Show. We run this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, technology, finance, entertainment, gaming, and everything in between. I'm your host, P.O., here with my co-host, not present today, Nifty Nick, funniest man in the business. He's been working his ass off. We're giving him a little break. King Kicks, the CEO of Crypto Raiders, the founder of Cyber Stadium, just rolled out. See people enjoying that. 100% of the funds go back to players from the prize pool. Co-founder of the Nifty and an intelligent degenerate in his own right. Signal, coder turned content creator, the host of Artist Spotlight. We love hearing her sophisticated takes on the NFT market and more. Easy Eats Bodega, the host of GM Market Talk, the dog behind Bodogos, soon to hit a blockchain near you, soon to be the #1 collection on that blockchain.
Woof, woof.
Oh, damn. There we go. Got a little Bodago call there. Clemente, producer extraordinaire. We're going to get him a new camera. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to be in full HD, framed up real nice. Just waiting for him to relocate to New York. There's a little bit of alpha for you that are stalking Clemente. He will be relocating. And last but not least, we have Bunny. Bunny, your bio just says, babe, wake up. Frank bought a Bored Ape.
I woke up the whole family last night, Pio. We haven't had someone interesting buy a Bored Ape since Madonna, and that was like several months ago.
Wow, is that right?
I don't know. It's the last one I remember.
And she bought that when her and Beeple did a collaboration, right? That was her little signal that she was in the know with NFTs, right?
Yep. That's exactly how it went down. That's right. She was shilling her own thing.
Of course. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great show today. We're going to cover Yuga revealing details on their heavy metal collection. Frank from DeGod's, as I mentioned before, and Bunny just mentioned his shopping spree ahead of DeGod's bridging to ETH. We're also going to discuss the possible weakening and devaluation of the US dollar. So a different spin right there. And last but not least, an edition of everybody's favorite segment, buy, sell, or send it to zero, with our very own Easy Eats Bodega later in the show. Very, very exciting. We might have a free NFT this show too. And all of you bozos that try to guess the code, let me tell you, you're not guessing the code today. Try all you want. Use AI to try to guess the code. Chat GPT, I don't give a shit. You're not guessing the code, and it's never going to happen again. You're not better than me, code guessers. Anyway, Signal, how you doing this morning?
I'm proud that Discord is like CIA level, just like hacking away to type codes. I am properly impressed. So well done to Discord for guessing the password. And also like Frank, I feel like, this Frank shopping spree, he's the kind of guy like who comes to your house, say he was like your boyfriend or your partner, comes to the house, he like takes off his shoes, wipes his feet, has a gift for everyone in the family, including your cousins. Then you go break up with them. And for the rest of eternity, your mom is like, oh, that boy Frank, he has such good manners when he came to the house. Really, watch you with Frank. he's just such a charmer. I just love how he's coming in and just being like, oh, here's some cash for everyone. So yeah, no, I'm liking Frank. I'm liking Frank a lot recently. He's like, I've got Frank little gloves cheering here.
I mean,
yeah, and if you own a project and it didn't get bought by Frank, it's just a sign you're fucked.
Yeah.
Well, he did buy ours.
I know. I had to bother him about that. I was like, dude, I'm taking it personal. You haven't got a Nifty portal. That's personal. And 5 seconds later, he posted his portal buy. I was like, oh, I no longer am taking this personal.
Yeah, it took a little nudge for him to post it, but just the way that he did it, I mean, we'll dive into it, obviously. It'll be a lot of fun. I also love how Signal pointed out that the people in our Discord are like CIA level when it comes to guessing the code. Yet when it comes to connecting their wallet to the website, I don't know. It looks like the CIA is out to lunch at that point. I really don't know. But anyway, no, just giving you guys a hard time. Make sure you connect your wallet to thenifty.com. If you have a portal, we're going to be airdropping all of the the previous claims from the free NFT platform to everybody that has a portal in their wallet tomorrow. So make sure that you do that. We're so thrilled with the reception to the free NFT platform. Wanted to make sure that everybody that has a portal is 1,000% supported. If you don't have a portal, you got to stay on your toes. You're going to have to be guessing these codes or whatever. You're going to have to listen to the show. Come on now. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a quick minute to thank the sponsor of today's show before we dive into the weather report. Today's show sponsor is Accointing by Glassnode, which is without question one of the most accurate ways to report your crypto transactions. Obviously, if you traded NFTs, if you've traded crypto, you know that taxes are just a mess when it comes to NFTs. Yeah, I can only imagine.
I got my 2021 back. It's a little late.
Yeah, so if you don't want to literally be 2 years late with your taxes like Kix apparently is, then you're definitely going to want some sort of automated solution. Accointing makes filing your taxes super simple. Literally takes 5 clicks and you get a view of all your activity. You're able to edit the transactions and you come out with a report that's ready to submit to whatever service you do, whether it's your own accountant or literally like a H&R Block or TurboTax, one of those automated services. So there's support for 400 different wallets, 20,000 different tokens and NFTs, and Accointing will calculate your gains and losses instantly. And if whatever you bought, whatever bullshit you bought isn't on their platform, you can add it yourself with a new entry. So sign up at the nifty.com/Accointing, or Clemente, you gotta confirm what's the link. Sorry, Clemente, what's the link?
I believe it's accointing.com/the Nifty.
Okay, sorry about that. Accointing.com/the Nifty. So that's ACCOINTING.com/the Nifty. Clemente will have a tweet pinned to the top and we'll be good to go. Anyway, over to the weather report. Kix, please take it away.
Got it, Coach. I'm here rocking the golf shirt, ready to give you the weather report. Today is Thursday, 30th of March. Getting close to April. Total market value $54 million. Blur, $32 million. OpenSea getting back above 10 at 14 million. Looking over at the leaders, we got Ape 61.7, Mutants 13.4. Not bad on the Mutant side. Punks rallying a little bit off of that Blur farming low. They're sitting at 65 ETH. Azuki still holding strong, 13.2. Captains rallied back from 4 to 5.4. We got Pudgies just chilling, 4.6. And then we got Doodles and Moonboard sitting down in 3.3. They got some work to do. That's what the market's saying. They got some work to do. Over the past 24 hours, we got Bored Ape Yacht Club revealing the HV-MTL mech types. 30,000 curious machines from another world. 8 different types of mechs, each with their own skills, personality, roles, all designed to transform and all installed with ChatGPT-4. News saw the collection jump to 2.4 ETH before settling back down about 2.1 ETH this morning. On to the art. Artblocks announced their own marketplace, which protects artist royalties after Blur and OpenSea reduced royalties down to 0.5%. And today, the Tessera team debuts a new edition fine art marketplace, Escher, starting with 3 artists for season 0. Congrats to those guys. Cosimo Medici and Beeple announced an IRL exposition happening in London, featuring never before seen works by Beeple, and he usually shows all his work, so these got to be super exclusive. The opening night will be followed by a 3-week public exhibition, which Cosmo says is part 1 of something bigger. I'm going to Google how to say exhibition later. Lastly, Doodles 2 Genesis boxes revealed tomorrow on March 31st. Boxes contain 2 wearables in 1 beta pass. The pass will be used for early access to Doodles 2. Boxes stayed relatively stable on the news, sitting down at 0.12 ETH floor. I'm down 50% on that. Crypto, Bitcoin 28.6, ETH 1,800, Solana fighting for $21. Ape sitting down in the $4 range. Back to you in the studio.
Fantastic weather report, Kix. I did not expect the word exhibition to be the big challenge for you in the weather report, but hey, we still love you. We love
you. You know, you don't get that too often these days.
Yeah, we love the weather report. And ladies and gentlemen, we got the tweet pinned to the top for 40% off Accointing. Use the link in that tweet. So 40% off your automated tax services through Accointing by Glassnode. Some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest, which you can subscribe to at thenifty.com, THENIFTY.com. That's also where you have to go to claim today's free NFT. That's our free NFT platform. So if you're not on there, get on there. You'll get the nice newsletter 5 days a week, but more importantly, you'll be able to claim the free NFTs. Anyway, the stories from today are Yuga Labs, as Kix mentioned, they released 8 different mech types of the 30,000 heavy metal NFT collection, which holders will expect to evolve based on their decisions. So a little, what do you call that? Choose your own adventure style from Bored Ape Yacht Club. It's cool, right, Kix?
I'm a fan, man. I'm really impressed by what Yuga Labs has been doing over the past 6 months.
Well, we're going to dive right into it after the newsletter. Beyond that, Frank, the founder of DeGods and Utes, as we mentioned, went on an NFT collecting spree in the past 24 hours where one wallet collected many of the most prominent collections on Ethereum with a total spend of 113 Ethereum. That's $203,000, ladies and gentlemen, so far. The Hundreds, famous streetwear brand, announced a collaboration with Warner Brothers for which Atom Bomb Squad NFT holders will get early access. We'll see if that has any impact on the floor for Atom Bomb Squad. Proof has announced Evolving Pixels, their first exhibition, which includes work from 10 top and emerging generative and AI artists, to which the Proof Collective will have exclusive access, after which Moonbirds and Grails holders will have access. So still a little bit of favor towards Proof after the announcement that Proof Collective will essentially be Moonbird's elders. Last but not least, China and Saudi Arabia have taken steps to reduce their reliance on the US dollar by entering into a trade alliance. And Brazil has followed by agreeing with China to use their own currencies for trade. That's definitely the gnarliest story in the newsletter, if you ask me. A lot more kind of crazy than Yuga Labs having some digital machines available as NFTs. So those are your updates from the Nifty Daily Digest. I want to dive into Yuga and, you know, their interactive website for the heavy metal collection, showing some of this lore. You know, 3 of you guys, Kix, Easy, Signal. I mean, Bunny, you're an ape holder, obviously, famously. What do you guys make of what has gone down with Yuga here?
More NFTs. We're chasing $500 million. $500,000.
$500 million? Hey.
Eventually, give it another 3 years. We'll be there.
A decade, you know, or something.
Yeah, we got Vessels coming, another 100K. Still speculation on the next 100K of other deeds, which we're supposed to launch. So that alone, between those 3, would theoretically put us at 400K. Mutants at 20K. Apes at 10K. Dogs at 10K. Yeah, we're pushing up there. But hey, they're crushing it. I mean, the floor prices are going up. I got fudded by my favorite rabbit on stage, whose hand is now up. I can't wait to hear his take. And he had stated that I said heavy metal was a buy at like 1.8, or maybe even 2. We'll give them 2, and got a lot of FUD because they went to 1.8, and then they flew to 2.7, and now I think they're right around 2.5. People are excited about it though. You're seeing a lot of tweets on the timeline about the like on StarCraft from Garga and the similarities to the heavy metal images, and yeah, I think that's interesting. And then also on top of it, it looks like we're getting like 2 farm style games, like idle earn, passive play, strategy based, because it looks like there's resources. In the graphic on the heavy metal website of the game, in the bottom right corner, there's a store included. So I think it's going to be another ApeCoin sync that's going to incentivize that. Had some good competition yesterday.
Yeah, it's the Agora, dude.
What the hell's the Agora?
Bunny, you have your hand raised. What is the Agora?
The Agora is going to be like the other side in-game marketplace. They've been teasing that for a while. But Easy keeps touting the number of NFTs that they like it means something. Why do you keep pointing that fact out? Like, what is that indicative of?
Easy?
It's a lot of JPEGs.
So, but it's not affecting the floor price negatively though of the main asset. So I don't see why why you say it like it should connote like something negative.
No, whoa. You're putting words in my mouth, big dog. I'm just saying that there's almost
dude, he's looking at his neighbor and they got a lot of cars in their backyard. Eventually, they're going to run out of room.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because there's enough people who want to drive the cars. Like the difference between everybody else's ecosystem and Yuga is that people actually want to get these NFTs and do stuff. And now you have a choice. If you want to go and be one of these heavy metals, go be a heavy metal. You want to pay like Legends of Martha, go get another deed. And I think that like, you know, I saw in some discords, people are like, oh, it's becoming like Pixel Vault, but it's completely different because all of these NFTs have some kind of utility behind it, and also at different times. And I just think like so far they're the only collection proving that you can have this many JPEGs in an ecosystem, drive value to them, have some kind of connective lore story around it. Like even though it might seem quite like a little bit all over the place, the story does actually make sense. And I think we're going to see more of that story weave through. And as long as there's their demand for all these JPEGs and utility coming, the floor price will stay up. So I don't see any problem with them having such a large ecosystem. But if another project tried to replicate Yuga, yeah, they'd go straight to zero.
And it'd be one thing if they were just doing more PFP pictures, right? I think that's when we talk about supply. That's when people are like, hey, you're just like diluting the amount of profile pics in your ecosystem. These things are actually, as you said, being like tied into gamified experiences or actual games. So my question is, so we got Legend of Mara, right? 2D strategy game. And now it looks like this HV
Heavy metal.
Yeah, heavy metal. Looks like that's going to be some sort of game or gamified experience as well.
I thought that
they were kind of connect.
Yeah, I thought they are attacking the Marthas because the Marthas are defending other side, but it's like, who are they defending it from? And then you've got these robots from another world. So it's like it makes sense the robots would attack the Marthas potentially in this story.
That's too good of a theory.
No one. This is
good of a theory.
Lore building.
Well, one note is that someone in our Discord, Antoine Algin, who is Greek, referenced that the word agora literally means market in Greek. So the speculation that it's going to be a store or a marketplace makes perfect sense there. You know, it's pretty obvious that they're looking for more ways to incorporate ApeCoin. I mean, from a gaming studio perspective, I understand why Easy's bringing up the overall supply of NFTs because of, you know, prospective dilution. However, this is the biggest NFT brand with the most resources, the best track record of execution. And what you're seeing now is you're seeing a lean in of story, which the two of the founders, Gordon and Garga, obviously Garga now, I believe the CEO, Gordon stepping away for health reasons, but regardless, their backgrounds are as writers and as storytellers, which I think you're seeing that play out here. And I think that you'll probably see an effort to kind of unify a lot of these stories because a lot of the stories are kind of disjointed, in my opinion, right now. But they had a lot to do with acquisitions and the different ventures that they're going on. So leaning into story and then leaning into gaming. And obviously, I pointed out the success that they've had with gaming, attracting a professional level gamer, having him finish first, having him sell the asset for over $1 million, having that make waves in the gaming world. So solid execution there too. I wouldn't be as concerned about the supply of NFTs. Having said that, wasn't there an announcement of 100,000 new NFTs? This is one of the collections.
Vessels. So they're getting vessels, which you can claim from the other deeds. That's a big thing for me. Is like, what is capable here? Like, what can we actually do? Can we play Legends of Mara with just a vessel? Because that's like going to be the big curiosity statement is if we can, then I actually think other deeds price action will suffer and vessels will increase in price.
Also, they've hinted at the vessels being deflationary inherently.
Yeah.
Like, I think Curtis in the other side said like something about cracks in the vessels not being good. And if you look at on the website when they dropped the Legends of the Mara announcement, it makes a note of something about like them being corruptible. Right.
Yeah,
so like I think like,
you're
literally gonna be able to mess these up.
I think it's like Tamagotchi. Like if you let the thing die,
100%,
it's gonna die. But I actually saw a graph right before this show, and this is like the most interesting thing to me is that the video game industry is bigger than box office and entertainment by a lot.
I believe that.
I didn't realize how big it was. You look, global box office revenue from 2010 to 21 was about $100 billion. Gaming revenues in 2021 alone was $180 billion.
And so I think if you add in music as well, it's bigger. Like, and it's movies and music together.
Yep.
It's still bigger.
And the biggest is mobile, which did 93 billion. So like if these games, I think a lot of people are really underestimating like idle style games, simplistic ways to actually play stuff. And like, if you can play a 5-minute play session, that's where you get a much wider audience. Like
Candy
people
Crush.
who are busy. Exactly. People that are actually able to spend money in games and want to do that is from that type of play style, which is like where I think there is opportunity. And I think Yuga is very conscious of that with this. Because if you look, there's timers, there's other things in this game, a lot of farm style games. So like that's the thing that I'm like looking at where I'm like, they're really playing into strategy on how you spend your time.
Flappy Bird, Angry Birds, games like that as well.
Yep.
Clemente, you unmuted?
Yeah, easy with, I mean, it sounds like you're pretty excited about both heavy metal and other deeds, and they're both at similar prices right now. You have heavy metal at about 2.15 and other deeds at 1.8. Yes, they're different supplies. But if you're looking at a 2 to 3 month time span, you had to pick one, which one would you be leaning
Heavy
towards?
metal.
Heavy metal.
Yeah, the reason for that too is heavy metals, there's two different evolutions that to basically turns like a robot. So I'm curious the PFP ability of that. People are really excited about the art. Either you love or hate this art, but you can tell it has like this pull from StarCraft, which has some people like, this is really cool if you like you looked at it. And Fran had one of the best threads I've seen. It looks like these robots have traits from Bored Apes. And the perfect one is that heavy metal hat with the no smoking sign in the eyewear, because it shows that like a smoking thing, the trait hat, the BAYC hat, and that like I think is going to play into a little bit of like people wanting ones that have similar traits to their own ape. And the other thing is like these things can evolve, which I think is cool because that like gives a longer time horizon. If vessels can be removed from other deeds, I think other deed price action is negatively affected, whereas heavy metal looks like it just has consistent upside because it really plays in to this entire roadmap. And so far, game 1 got you the heavy metals. Game 2 involves the heavy metals. I think game 3 is going to require some form of battle with the heavy metals. So it just feels like an inevitable kind of play into it.
Some of the most kind of forward-thinking and functional mechanics between NFTs and gaming that we've seen so far. Obviously, there's been big failures like the hyped-up Axie Infinity ecosystem. Obviously, was not sustainable with their tokenomics structure. It seems like Bored Ape Yacht Club is doing a pretty good job. Irish from the audience said there are only 30,000 profile pictures. The rest are gaming assets. There will be millions of them eventually. I couldn't agree more. I think that it's totally on point. I mean, what happened to the sewer passes now that the sewer game is done?
0.15 for voided ones. You can still claim the ones with scores for the heavy metals. So the voided ones have completely crippled because they've openly stated there is no value to them. And what was actually crazy was we saw them like sell off to like 0.8, then fly to 1.9 for no reason at all. So I feel for the people who are buying those things at 1.9 because they're quite literally 0.19. And I saw that last night.
Here's the thing, like if you're buying something that says void on it, all due respect, like you're not going to make it in this space. But you can make it. You just got to kind of flip that mindset a little bit. When someone says void on it, you generally don't want to spend $3 to $4 grand.
Go against your instincts.
I think it's really interesting though what Easy is saying, because I think from a very short-term perspective, I think like Easy, you're absolutely right on the heavy metal stuff, but I think from like a longer Legends of Martha, I see this playing out as, you know, when you have the strategic games and you have people who go really, really deep into the game, sort of like what we saw with Wolf Game, and you end up specializing it and understanding the resources and understanding the arbitrage and understanding like if I essentially monopolize potentially a strategic resource that anybody else wants, then that brings value to you as a player. And I just have a feeling like in the next 30 to 40 days, we're going to see some threador out there who's going to have how I went from an other deed to a CryptoPunk in less than 30 days, because
it's going to be even crazier than that. I can't wait. It's going to be even crazier.
But that's where I think the upside is in this. It's like, obviously there's the side with the heavy metals, which you can be flipping. But I think with Martha, it's going to be much more go deep, understand the game like you'd understand Catan, and then somehow be able to monopolize resources. And then that's how you get like exponential upside on this, rather than being sort of very wide and just sort of spray pray trying to flip other deeds. I think they've given people an opportunity to invest time and get like exponential upside on their return.
Sig, the thread is actually in fact going to be how I turn 0 ETH into a CryptoPunk by playing everyone else's other deed. Like that is 100% what it's going to be. They're going to do delegate cash and just sit there clicking buttons for 50 other deeds to make sure that their vessels don't die. Like we've already seen the delegate payouts for what happened on Dookie Dash. It's only going to get crazier for people who can sit there and farm.
Yeah, the only part about it I think is interesting is just the fact that these assets exist on the secondary market forever. Obviously, it says void and it, don't buy it, but people still buy it. That's the one part of it that feels like an incomplete loop. I wonder if maybe burn mechanics when you redeem will be implemented in the future just to kind of clean that little part up. It's not like a life or death situation, but it just feels to me like it should be cleaned up just a pinch, and that we're still in the early stages of what this stuff is going to look like eventually. Because when you think about, a AAA game producer, at the end of the day, everything's clean. There's generally no like messed up bullshit.
I agree. I agree with that, like for sure. Like with like crypto raiders, we would have characters that could like die, but they were still an NFT, right? And then like we'd update the metadata to show that they were dead, right? But then sometimes maybe the metadata didn't get refreshed and someone bought it. It's just super, super clunky. With Cyber Stadium, if a character dies, we just send them right to a burn contract, just like automatically. I agree with you. That's the cleanest way to do it because then there's no confusion. Like someone's like, hey, I want to buy a character. Like there's no risk.
Yeah, you don't want to confuse anybody. Bunny, you have your hand raised. Something to weigh in on Heavy Metal or Yuga Labs ecosystem right now?
Yeah, I was curious if we thought that this could kick off like a meta of dynamic NFTs opposed to static ones on like on a macro
dynamic
level,
meaning like they evolve over time.
Like they evolve over time. Because we've seen Yuga pivoting to like that direction now, and I just feel like I don't know, it is a copycat league here, and I could see that becoming a thing.
Well, I have an opinion. I want to hear from Kicks, Easy, and Signal too. My opinion is that you can do it if you actually have a game plan and a reason for these things to evolve, which obviously Yuga has. I mean, I saw a tweet where somebody said like, oh my God, like Yuga's more than an NFT project now, or Bored Ape Yacht Club's more than an NFT project now. I'm like, yeah, no shit. They're literally $1 billion gaming studio startup that has like $400 million in cash at this point. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that they're a pretty big deal and that they're executing at a really high level from like a gaming and NFT perspective. Kick, Signal, Easy. Anybody have any thoughts on this dynamic NFT trend potential before we move on?
Yeah, I was just pretty much going to echo what you said, which is I think that the tricky thing with dynamic NFTs is you need that like follow through on execution, right? Versus just like the initial launch. And if the follow through like execution to do like that dynamic process is lame, then it's not going to be like effective. But I do completely agree with like what Bunny is saying, that Yuga does like lead on these things and a lot of other people follow, right? So I do think that we'll see more of that, but it will take more effort. Good chance it comes from maybe some of the bigger companies in NFTs that like have that ability to do that follow through execution. But I'm a big fan of like the dynamic, ever changing, evolving. Like that's kind of what a gaming NFT is. Like, you buy a World of Warcraft account, you start at level 1, you have no gear, right? You grind it up to your level 60 and you have legendaries and everything like that. Now your character is actually worth hundreds or like thousands of dollars. Like gaming NFTs and like dynamic NFTs that grow like go super hand in hand. So I think we'll see a lot more of that.
Easy, anything to add here?
No, I think it's spot on. I think we continue to look a lot at the gaming narrative, and like games are ever changing and adopting and kind of that aspect. And that's a big part of like this evolving aspect is like you have to play a game to get to the next tier and choose your evolution path. And like the decision-making aspect, I think, is a lot bigger than people realize, in my opinion, from like being able to almost like feel like you had a choice in where this NFT's future went. And that plays into like the psychological aspect of it, of like, one, it becomes harder to sell from a trader's perspective because like you made the decisions to get it where it was. So that inherently could drive floor price up because like these people now value it higher due to them actually playing the game. And if enough people feel that way and don't need the liquidity, I think there's a lot of like trickle down effects that actually occur from it, from like mutable NFTs. And I think gaming in general will always have mutable NFTs, and that'd be the core of it, just from like how we always cycle back to digital assets and other key components that really make games fun.
Nice. And Signal, any thoughts to add before we move on?
No, I like what Easy said. And I think what's interesting as well is that they're giving people an opportunity to add value in a way that was just not possible before. Before, it was always very much based on like almost like consensus across the market for what a specific trait is worth. And here, because we were saying that we have this sort of choose your own adventure path with these assets, it feels much more individualized, and it feels like, right, I now drive the value rather than the consensus of the market driving the value of what a particular asset is. So I don't know. For me, in terms of gaming, and I say this all the time, I'm not a gamer, but I'm very, very excited for what Yuga are doing. And I don't know why, but all of a sudden I want to spend 2 ETH, you know, buying these assets, which is completely crazy because I wouldn't even spend $30 in the App Store. So like, I think they're doing a great job.
Well, there's a carrot for you, right? There's potential future gain or future access to things that you actually want, which is like the magic of NFTs. I see some people pointing out that there was already dynamic NFTs before, but the exact point that we're talking about is there has to be a reason why the dynamicism is relevant, right? Like you could just go put out an NFT and change it every week. Who gives a shit? Like that, what does that do? It doesn't do anything. There has to actually be like an infrastructure in place to give it value, which nobody in the entire NFT space has figured out from an execution perspective better than Yuga Labs. It's just a fact. I don't have any exposure to anything Yuga Labs, including Zero Ape Coin, but I could just tell you that right now. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to touch on Frank's shopping spree, take a quick look at the projects that he elected to buy and do a little analysis there. Then we'll touch upon, this Operation Choke Point from the rest of the world against the United States dollar. That'll be a doozy. And then wrap with an edition of buy, sell, or send it to zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega, a lot of people's favorite segment. Just a quick shout out to our sponsor again, Accointing. If you see the tweet pinned to the top, you can get 40% off of Accointing's services. It's about to be tax season. I mean, it is tax season. It's not about to be. It's literally tax season right now. The deadline is coming up April 18th, and Accointing is just flat out one of the easiest ways to calculate your crypto taxes. You just plug in your wallets and you let Accointing do the rest. Accointing's by Glassnode, by the way. Probably familiar with Glassnode, big name in the crypto business. So all you have to do is look over your transactions and download the specific report that you need to file your taxes. Then you're good to go. If you made a loss on your crypto last year, which let's be real, you probably did, it's even more reason to file your taxes before the deadline comes so you can lower your overall tax payment, maybe even get a rebate. So again, free report for Accointing offers a free report for anyone with less than 25 transactions last year. So if you had a light year, maybe you're just a casual crypto participant, less than 25 transactions is totally free. But for our American, Australian, and English listeners, if you sign up with a link pinned to the top, you get 40% off of all of the Accointing plans. So moving on to Frank's shopping spree, very good marketing move by Frank as usual. Not only did he buy a lot of NFTs, but he actually kind of made content while he was doing it. Easy, what did you make of the move? I'm sure you were paying attention to it, and obviously you nudged him to buy ours, and then Clemente just pulled up, the collection, so we'll take a quick peek at it. But Easy, what do you make of it?
I mean, it's clear he went for all like the quote blue chips in projects and really got exposure to existing communities, which with DeGod's bridging tomorrow, the diff, I think that there was a good move by him to do this to get some exposure initially. I think people are going to be shocked at the sticker value of a DeGod when it hits the market tomorrow at 7.8 ETH. I think the initial shock of Utes being 1.7 to 1.8, and a lot of talk on the timeline with people like, I did not realize these were that much. I just assumed 150 SOL was like $50. And now they realize like, oh shit, this is actually impressive. And when DeGod's hit and they're like, holy shit, these things are 8 ETH. Like these have already flipped my favorite project and I'm priced out. You may see trickle-down effects to Utes and some other key things. And it was a good move on his part, in my opinion. What I think is hilarious is he already sold his Milady maker for a 0.0001 profit.
Wait, he bought a Milady maker?
Dude, we don't talk bad about don't talk bad about the Miladies, man.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah, we don't talk about the Miladies. They tagged me all morning. It was so scary. We talked about
Jesus.
Them. We talked about them on the show, and I was just like, guys, we love them. They are great. Please just respect them. Let them be, please. I beg you. But
Direct your anger towards Frank, not us.
Yeah, and it was funny because they tagged him and said, "You're now cursed." So I wish nothing but good things for him because a Milady curse is terrifying.
Frank and Easy are about to get swatted. Holy shit. But I think it's so funny what you pointed out about how people were like, I thought 150 SOL wasn't that much money. It just shows people won't do the one extra step of like 150 times $20. Like it's just not something that they'll do. And all of a sudden people are like, wow, I didn't realize Utes were this much in ETH. It's just hilarious how surface level, the space can be. Yeah. You got to be on the nose with this space. If nothing beneath the surface, it's got to be on the nose. Kicks, do you have any thoughts on the shopping spree?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, what a way to like turn it up. I mean, I think that there's other founders out there that like trade and like own bags and stuff like that, but to see someone like integrate it very smartly into like a marketing campaign to come to ETH. He's just a marketing genius. He really is. And I think he'll continue to be so. I'm personally excited for them to get DeGod's over to ETH and then see what's next. And I'm sure a lot of people on their team are as well, right? I mean, the bridging the Utes over and then DeGod's, that's probably been a massive thing on their roadmap. Now that they make these moves, it's going to be pretty awesome to see like what they do to kind of keep moving the ball forward after this. But yeah, it's really cool to see.
Signal, you have several Utes, correct? Or you traded? Yeah, you sold the literal top.
No.
Oh, the Pico top.
I know I'm Uteless now, but no, I've just like honestly, I've been so impressed with what Frank has been doing. Well, Frank and the team have been doing there. There's a really good video, and I can't remember who the person is, but it was somebody who was meant to hire Frank before he did DeGods. And he basically
like Peron or something, like a big Bitcoin entrepreneur guy. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so in the video, he says like, oh, I spoke with Frank. We were gonna hire him. He disappears for like a week and ghosts me. And then when he comes back, he says he doesn't want the job because he's gonna go and do DeGods. And what's really funny is that in this video, one of the guys goes, Frank is an attack dog. He's wild. He'll figure it out. And I really feel like now we're starting to see that attack dog side of Frank and just how aggressive he is and how good he is at growth marketing. And it's just these like little projects executed really well at that cadence that like Nick was talking about the other day. And it's been flawless, like everything from ordinals to what we saw with the bridging over to Polygon. Now they're going to be moving to doing the points for Ute. So I just think like this quality of execution is just a reflection of how good that team is. And if they keep going like the cadence and the quality that they're doing this year, I don't see, for example, Utes as a secondary collection hanging around in that 1.6, 1.7 ETH range over the long term. It'll be interesting because now you've got Azuki at 13, 14, DeGod's coming in at quick math 7, 8 ETH, and then like jump down to captains, pudgies, etc. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where like how DeGod stay in that list, and also whether when blur farming starts to happen for them, if that starts to affect the floor as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Signal, of course, referencing the My First Million podcast hosted by Sam Parr and Sean Puri. I saw that clip too. Sean Puri is actually the founder of the Milk Road, went from 0 to 250,000 subscribers in 6 months, got an exit there, paid short-term capital gains tax on an entrepreneurial exit. That's
exited.
unheard of. Like, who the hell does that? A year flies by in business. You know what I mean?
Like such a funny thing to say. Like the fact that you know that fact, you know what I mean? Because it's so rare. That's unbelievable.
Unheard of. And yeah, he's talking about Frank. He goes, yeah, this kid Rohan had a Twitter, and he would post these ideas that were either going to go super viral or literally are the dumbest thing ever. There's nothing in between. And the people at Milk Road were like, well, what should we hire him for? Like, I don't understand. Like, what are we hiring him about? And he's like, just let him do the stuff that he's doing now, but for us. Like, just don't have him not have a job anymore and just do these tweets or whatever weird Rohan stuff he's doing. And then obviously Frank ended up ghosting him, and he was like, what the hell? Like, I thought we were good, because it was a 4-day period between when him and Frank talked versus the next time. And in those 4 days, Frank launched DeGods, and obviously the rest is history. Clemente, you unmuted. What's going on, man?
Yeah, one of the things I was thinking about as far as like momentum and trying to be able to capture that, because I'm comparing Utes and DeGods, for example, to Doodles, CloneX, and Moonbirds, and one of the things that you just feel from the DeGods and Utes community is this momentum and like passion, and I think you can almost point that to what percentage of holders are in the green or are making money versus the holders that are in the red. Like, I almost would want to see the median buy-in price for Utes versus CloneX, Doodle, and Moonbirds. And I think that's where I look at what high of a mountain these quote unquote used to be blue chips projects had, because they were around during the Pico top, the Pico bull, where we had these insane prices. And now probably 90% of Moonbirds holders are probably in the red when you look at it from a USD point of view. When you look at Pudgy Penguins or Utes, probably maybe 10% of them are in the red. Maybe Pudgy Penguin's a little bit different, but it's definitely interesting to think about. And you see that, you feel that presence and energy from them on Twitter.
Real quick,
love
Kicks,
that tip. You go PO.
real quick, just minters of Moonbirds are about to be in the red. You know what I mean? So,
or already are. I mean, I forget what the ETH was at that price. Yeah, it's close, right? We're like right on the cusp of that, which means then literally everyone's in the red. It means like it's like 99%, right? Like other than like the two guys that like bought the local Pico bottom. I love what Clemente said, because that's like so unbelievably true. Because I think us as humans, we have like very basic things that like define our emotions, and then we try to wrap logic around it, right? So literally like sentiment around projects is almost probably exclusively defined by what Clemente said. What percentage of the holders are in the green versus in the red? And then people wrap logic around it. Like, oh, this founder's so great. He's so smart. He just shows up. He just, he's there every day. They're launching new things, right? Where if you take that exact same project, that exact same founder, that exact same person, and you put them in that red situation like Clemente talked about, where like 60% of holders go in the red, all of a sudden everything starts to unravel and everyone starts getting mad about all these other things they didn't see, and then it can snowball. So yeah, price is such an important, and buy-in price relative to current price is such an important factor in this whole game.
There's just way less baggage with Utes and DeGods. Is right now the all-time high for them easy, or where are we kind of at in terms of price action?
Yeah, it's all-time high. Solana wise, USD wise, in January 2021, they were a little higher. So probably like $3,000 higher. Not like obviously that's a lot of money, but in context, they were lower SOL price, higher USD price.
And what do you make of the bridge? How do you predict this price action, kind of playing out? And what do you make of the price action that we've seen with Utes on Polygon?
The Utes on Polygon price action was like exactly how I thought it would pan out, to be completely honest. It's been basically flat from the SOL price. And I think come Monday, when the paper hand bridge tax hits, there will be more price action as people bridge over and start to realize like, oh, I can only get these on Polygon now without paying a 33% fee. So that's, I think, is what's going to cause more price action on that side. The thing that like I'm more interested in is when people realize the sticker price of DeGods. Like that is going to be the reflection point where people are like, oh my God, like, wow, these things are not cheap assets. Like this is an 80th asset. This is 2 captains. This is 2 pudgies. This is a 2.5 doodles. Like when you put it in context, it's like, damn. And when you look back at the history of these, they were $300, $400.
Clean history. Very clean.
Like crazy too. And they almost rugged. Like Frank said it. He's like, when I first launched it, people thought that I was a scammer. He's like, it genuinely went through my head of like, why did I do this? This is the worst experience of my life. And he turned it all around, which is incredible. And it's going to be crazy to see how people adapt to it. And I think they're going to want exposure to that ecosystem, which I think DeGod's bridging is actually more of a bullish price action for Utes because it's a more affordable asset. And a lot of speculation on like what's to come with Utes. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm kind of looking at this. It will be really interesting to see how people react to it and what kind of goes forward from it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I love that Signal brought up and mentioned the Bitcoin ordinals thing. That kind of flies under the radar. From like a revenue generation perspective, that Bitcoin ordinals move was awesome. Like forget about like these projects doing open editions. Cool, you did an open edition. And there's a burn mechanic. What's been the most successful open edition burn mechanic thing that came out in the past few months, right? Like what really was that versus selling 300 like OG DeGods that are basically just art, like fine art, historical art, collectible, angle on them. I believe the auction was in Dust, right? Easy. So it's like, it's with their native token. You're muted, Easy.
The first one was in Dust.
Okay.
So they only did the Frank Bitcoin DeGod and Dust. The other ones were 0.33 Bitcoin.
Okay.
So they made,
$3 million.
I think it was actually like 4 in like cold hard cash, like
unreal
in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's appreciated since. So like if they didn't go straight stable, which we've seen the history of DeGods ride Solana from their mint at 170 SOL all the way down to 30 before they went stable. And I think they may have learned from that. I hope. But
I hope.
Yeah,
I mean, I
$4
get
million.
Yeah, Bitcoin's gone up. I mean, you got to learn from that. No matter. I mean, Bored Ape Yacht Club kept a bunch of ETH. So I think that this is one of the biggest. Real quick, we'll cover this. This is one of the biggest, like, kind of disconnects with like people that are really good at making NFT projects and making crypto native products versus traditional entrepreneurs is that there was clearly some sort of lack of understanding somewhere where it's like Bored Ape Yacht Club, you're making like $100,000 a week in maybe more in royalties that are getting paid to you in ETH. The cost basis is in ETH. The tax liability is in ETH. And then you get a 90% drawdown. I mean, not that much, but call it a 68, 69% drawdown on that ETH. Sometimes definitely more on some of it. You owe taxes on what it was.
Of sale. That's the thing. The day of sale. Like, you got to go stables out the gate. Take the FUD. Say, oh, they're taking it out of the ecosystem. If I don't leave, the money's still flowing. We're still returning value back to that ecosystem. Now we just have to convert it back if we want to do something in that, which in turn helps price. You know? So, like, that's how I kind of view it, is like, listen, you gotta recognize it. You gotta take the money for taxes. Like, you gotta be above board. We all know they're in LA, so like that's a big thing.
What you're saying that because taxes in LA suck?
That and just like they're US based. So like between the two, you got apes in Miami, you got DeGods in LA, you got like in California, taxes are no joke. I know Bored Ape being in Miami is a little bit nicer, like, you know, but that's kind of where I'm like, you gotta recognize those. And they've done a damn good job, though, with all these different kind of like revenue sinks and generation. And like, they're also, the subtlest thing that I've started to see is these limited edition merch rollouts for DeGod events. Like the Bitcoin hoodies people really liked. And I had a few people even reach out like, yeah, dude, the orange one slapped. I even reached out after that and was like, yo, I need one. And they're like, listen, we actually can't do anything. So people are excited about those. I think that that's going to continue, and you're going to start to see like the hype and stuff in it comes from that. They're just doing a damn good job, man. They're running laps around a lot of people in the ecosystem.
Yeah, and real quick before we go to Clemente, if Nick was here, he would tell you that the state of California shook him down for $3,000 like 5 years after he left the state because they retroactively applied a law and they were like, you owe us more taxes now. And it's just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I paid these taxes 5 years ago. You can't change that. Anyway, Clemente, it looks like you wanted to chime in with something.
No, I'm good. We covered it already.
All right. You just wanted to show everybody your face. That's cool. That's no problem. Signal, any closing thoughts on DeGod's, Utes, Frank, ETH, Polygon, Bridge?
I've got a glad hand here. No, really. I really like Frank. And the team and the team. They've just and like, this isn't like a 30-person team. This is a small team. Maybe I think I heard him say like 4 or 5 people. Easy, correct me if I'm wrong on that number. But it's a very
bigger
agile.
now. It's bigger now.
Okay.
So I think they're at like 10 employees. Before that, when DeGod's first launch, it was probably like 15. They cut some headcount due to the lack of royalties and other things that were going on in the Solana ecosystem. And now they're back on a hiring spree, hiring for like a head of content, head of growth, some other things that they're looking for. And now they're ramping. I mean, 3 million from Polygon, 4 million from Bitcoin. The royalties, the royalties from Utes are enforced now at 3.33%. They got revenue sinks coming in that are really playing into a lot of things here. And I think that team's going to grow rapidly, especially with the now the management of multiple chains and multiple projects. It makes sense. And Frank's also said that like he is like the face, but like you still need other people involved. So like maybe he ends up taking on like a CMO role instead of everything else, where he just is the face of these, but you have a ton of other moving parts behind the scenes that help operate it all.
Man, 7 million. That runway feels good. That runway feels
in a bear.
Nice.
That's pretty.
You can get real freaking naughty with that runway. You know what I'm saying?
I guess. Yeah. No, that the Bitcoin, dude, the ordinal sale. I'm just like, wow. Can we do that? Can we go do that?
I loved like the old school design on it, like, you know, like 1995 Microsoft, like kind of right. Yeah.
Yeah, nice design. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on to everybody's favorite segment. Here we go. Buy, sell, or send it to zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega day trader extraordinaire.
I just bought one.
No, you didn't.
Please sell it.
Oh, no.
Zero. Send it to zero, Easy. This thing is garbage.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero with our very own day trader extraordinaire, Easy Eats Bodega. In this segment, we will discuss 3 different NFT collections, their current price points, and whether Easy is buying, selling, or sending to zero. Holding is not an option. You have to buy it, sell it, or send it to zero. Easy. Are you ready, sir?
Oh, I was born ready.
Let's go. First collection, Oni Force at 0.8 Ethereum. So after running up to 2.05 Ethereum following their acquisition in February, they are down 60%. That is a very brief pump. That's interesting. I didn't even know that. The collection minted in August 2021 before Azuki, notably before Azuki, and gained massive traction when YouTuber Logan Paul purchased a one-of-one for $623,000 at the time. That's 188 Ethereum at the time. Oni Force, not a copy of Azuki, a copy of the Gorillaz art style, if you want to get real. The Gorillaz, the hip-hop band. Oni Force at 0.8 ETH. Easy. Is it a buy, a sell, or a send it to zero?
This is a buy from me. At 0.8, 60% retracement off the peak. Goltra, one of the founding individuals who purchased that in the acquisition group, helped scale Binance Southeast Asia to literally the largest exchange globally. And that is their largest revenue generator, is the Southeast Asian Binance market. So that alone to me was like impressive. He created Coins Philippines and incited Crypto PH, which were like huge events in the crypto world and led to mass adoption in the Philippines for crypto and people viewing it as a general commodity and an opportune way to actually be able to spend that in the country. So that to me is like, you have a true person who believes in crypto with proven growth history and track record. I'm like, this is a home run. I don't mind even if it dips like 0.6, this feels good. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, these honestly sub 1 ETH feel good. Like I could see them very much so running back up to 1.5 ETH. We have not gotten anything further since the acquisition news. So it feels like a calm before the storm.
I kind of want to buy these, and I kind of want to buy a Ute or a DeGod ahead of this thing, but that's like a serious capital deployment just for a Thursday morning.
Hear me out. I think the bottom's in on crypto. Call me crazy.
Oh, the bottom's certainly in on crypto. That's a different conversation. The NFT thing,
get crazy about that, but that's usually how cycles ebb and flow. I genuinely think when crypto pumps and the price action flies, that's what leads to NFTs eventually appreciating, because of like the leverage play on the underlying token. And a lot of people hate that statement, but it really is that. Like when crypto chops and you start to see 50, 60, 100K sales, the macro economy is not great, which still is tough. The second that turns and people, and like the whole dollar situation is crazy, but we can get into that for another time. I genuinely think that Oni Force here feels good because we haven't gotten anything out of it.
You guys could have told me the bottom was in when ETH was at 1,100.
Yeah, who would have possibly thought sub 1K ETH? I only tweeted about it all of November and all of December that I was aggressively DCAing at $8 Sol, 30 cents FTM, like 6 cents H bar, and $1,000 ETH aggressively.
Sol was the biggest winner in all this because the FTX debacle made it sell off as if it was just a piece of shit.
And it's like, and I was aggressively buying from 8 to 12 to 15. My buys on like Coinbase look crazy.
Who's the founder of Oni Force again? What were you saying their name was?
Goltura, Goltura. He's not the pure founder, but he is one of the members of the acquisition group. Goltra, Goltra.
And okay, interesting.
So it was a group, an entity that purchased Oni Force, and
does this person have like a prominent Web3 presence?
20K followers.
Shut up, Bunny.
That's what I was thinking. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
So 20K followers, but the big thing is that he is doxed as one of the individuals who scaled Binance's Southeast Asia market. And that to me is like, you literally brought them to become the #1 exchange.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it seems like, a decent risk reward bet. I guess I'm just like a little bit more hesitant. I feel like, just acquiring essentially like what was the Oni Force brand before this acquisition? It was just like good art. You know what I mean? Like,
and it held 0.7 though. That's what's crazy is it held this price with people knowing it was a rug. Like people were like, there's nothing.
No, but it only held that price because of 10KTF when it was one of the original back in September 2021. I want to say it was one of the original families, and that's why it held this price. Otherwise, it would not have held this price. But hey, but that doesn't mean it's not a good buy. Like I'm on Easy's page with this. I still think it's a good buy in terms of like another project potentially. If we're looking at projects under 1 ETH that could make it into the next cycle, this is probably one of the best well-resourced teams that could do it. So yeah, buy.
Yeah, I guess my thing is just I feel like you know, like Luca and Frank, like they have like something like special in terms of like how they're like operating in Web3, and I think that's why a lot of people are like betting on them versus like, you know, Pixelmon, right? Like they brought in like a new team, right? And it's not like those things are like for ETH because someone bought them and they brought in a new team. I'm just saying it definitely I like your guys' thesis on this, but I'm just not I just don't think any acquisition means that it like should go up, even if it's a good founder potentially acquiring it. I think they got to like understand this like Web3 PFP founder game that like Frank and Luca and some other people do.
Yeah, my understanding is that the team that acquired OniForce is very much so above board. Whereas I don't think you can say the same thing about the Pixel Vault acquisition team. And no disrespect. Sorry, Pixel Vault acquirers. I don't know what to tell you.
Pixelmon.
Oh, whatever. Oh, shit. Pixelmon. Pixelmon, ladies and gentlemen. Pixelmon. Anyway, second collection, ladies. That was a buy from Easy and Signal. It sounds like Kix is lukewarm. We didn't get an official buy from him on OniForce. Bunny, what about you? What is OniForce a buy, sell, or send it to zero?
No, I'd sell it.
Shocker.
Thank you, buddy. In-depth analysis right there. Second collection, we got Renga at 0.93 ETH. I was looking at Renga today. The Renga art is the best PFP art in the whole space. D-Farmer posted the Renga art on an Air Force One, like the 10 KTF shoes. Just looks sick. For context, the art, and I don't have any Renga, ladies and gentlemen. The art-driven collection ran 30% after strong speculation leading into the seasons changing on March 21st. The announcement ended up alluding to a collaboration of sorts between Haas, a Formula One racing team. Since then, the collection has dropped 30%, currently in 0.93 ETH. Do you know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because the NFT market does not give a shit about collaborations with anyone outside the NFT market, because it doesn't mean more NFTs and it doesn't mean price bump. But anyway, Renga at 0.93 ETH, easy. Is it a buy, sell, or ascend it to zero?
I think it's a sell here. I don't think it's going to zero, but I'm not interested in Renga personally. Like the art slaps, but art can only get you so far. And the thing is, like, their announcements have been disappointing from the wider space. It's been the speculation once again of 10 KTF, how that would partner in. The black boxes are still kind of like one of the best burn to reveal mechanics, and those really drove price action crazy. But for me, I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know right now if I would be an aggressive buyer. Like, I just see the price action and I'm like, it doesn't feel great to me, you know? And I don't know what it is about it, but for me, I'm good. I think I'm just good. I don't know what's like next for them, you know? Is it more partnerships? They have like Dirty Robot, I think, could do some really cool stuff with the IP and branding and make a comic book, do some cool entertainment things that could be a lot of fun. But like, there's some tough things to really determine what like the path forward is.
Fair enough. A sell call from Easy on Renga at 0.93 ETH. Signal, what about you?
Oh, this is a tough one because I really like Renga. I really like the art. I never did buy one. I was always fading it all the all the way up. I was fading. I was like, yeah, it's gonna pull back. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel that this collection has just gone down sort of like with the macro conditions of the market, and it would be a collection that would pump back up with the macro conditions of the market. So for me, it's a buy for me. I do like the fact that they're holding this price, even though there hasn't been like much of like announcements coming out. Obviously, the F1 announcement is huge, but not like these smaller things that come out. The community is strong. I do see a lot of like prominent people on Twitter with this PFP. No, it's good. I like it. I think it can swing back up, but it will probably be more off a general macro trend of NFTs going up rather than just sort of like
a lot of people saying robot token is coming and they're launching the 10 KTF crafting tonight. But dude, when we've seen ERC tokens dropped and like that's tended to struggle for projects, it's not great. You know, the 10 KTF crafting is more interesting than robot token. Usually robot token short-term pump, and then if the token bleeds, the project bleeds.
Yeah, I mean, the token's good for the people that held the project for a long time, get a massive token allocation and can dump it on people. That's definitely good. I like, besides ApeCoin, you're seeing ApeCoin really integrated more and more. Like, what token for an NFT project has like been super sick? You know what I mean? It's just not really there. Kix?
I'm leaning towards this towards a sell here, even though I liked Renga. I held it for a while, traded it a lot. Sort of similar to my just hesitancy around like owning Force, which is just like I feel like the market is evolving and the things that people are looking for in terms of like long-term holds is like changing. It's like no longer you can just hold a PFP project, like drop PFP art, and just be like, it's PFP art. This is awesome. Like it's this like we carved out this niche and it's just going to move upwards. Like people need more of that. Like they need to see something like what, like why is 9gag, at 5.5? Why are captains at 5.5? Right? It's like literally because of what he is saying he's going to do in the future and how good he is at operating a Web3 business in public. Like I feel like when you don't look at Jack Butcher, right? Like why did Checks into Pepins have all of these runs? Because he's like doing innovative things in the space, and he also like deeply understands the space and is like rocking it well. So I just get concerned with some of these projects that like I don't have a clear like this is what they're doing next, right? Like Oni Force is going to do this next. Renga is going to do this next, and I feel like really confident that that's like a strong direction in Web3. I'd rather wait and hear what they're doing next and maybe miss a little bit of upside, but like have more confidence in my bet.
And quick digression here based on one comment that Kix made. You brought up captains. Me and Easy both hold captains. I'm staking mine. 1-0 from our valued community member 1-0 from our Discord said captains at 5.5 seem undervalued with DeGods at 8. I just had an identical thought before I read his comment. Easy, do you think that DeGods being at 8 is going to cause a like repricing on any existing collections like captains?
Tough to say. I think if anything, it may even cause a price action on DeGods. Like I think people bringing the Solana ecosystem over there, and for people who hold multiple, may actually exit and find other opportunities on ETH to just broaden the exposure to that ecosystem. That's like the bigger thing that I think could happen. And then you're also subject to market makers and other things that have kind of not been as prevalent with something that high of an asset. So I know a lot of people speculate like Blur doesn't do that, but like you're going to see a lot more trades on DeGods purely from the bid walls and everything else.
Fair enough. So just for the record, that was a sell on Renga from Easy. And then I feel like we got a little wishy-washy with Signal and Kicks. What were the definitive responses?
Buy, I'm sell.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm buy. For the next 90 days, I'm buy.
But it was like a sad sell. Like Renga has like a part in my trading story. So it's
a sad sell.
Yeah.
The part in my trading story with Renga sucks because I sold it for like a negligible gain before it had an unholy pump, and I had like 5.
A lot of upside too. Yeah,
it's dumb. Anyway, Bunny, Renga, buy, sell.
I'm sending it straight to zero.
Okay.
I don't hold any of these. Never held any of these. I don't really like the art that much. Like if people like it as a PFP, it's just not really my style. I don't think anything they're doing really moves the needle.
Too Danny Cole for you, too Creature World. Remember when people used to rock Creature World PFPs? I was just like, I mean, I don't even know who you. I can't tell who you are, man. This is noisy.
That's a great comparison.
Some disrespectful commentary. Last but not least, we got Kubz, KUBZ at 0.78 Ethereum. This is a collection in the, is it Kungs?
Yeah, Kungs is the founder. Kubz, the project here, and they've since evolved. So there's some ties to 9gag with this, which drives a lot of the price action speculation. You get a few really hyped whitelists from this that are coming up with Yoga Pets and a couple others. And they're trying to do a very similar mechanics.
Fully enforced 9% royalties on OpenSea and Blur.
Yeah, that's pricey. And that's kind of they look good though. Like these are fun, like
hyper aggressive royalty.
Yeah, really aggressive. That's the tough part. Yeah, I think they may be a sell here personally. They pumped almost to like 2 ETH before they revealed. I don't know, because there's only so much liquidity in the space. And right now it's like, you're piggybacking on the back of 9gag, which becomes more difficult to maintain. Yoga Pets is losing steam.
Kubz.
What'd you say?
Never heard of this.
Okay, well, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd be a seller here if I was a seller at 2. So like, I was a seller at 1.3, as you know. So I've been exiting these when I've traded them. Some people are saying send it to 0. I don't think it goes to 0 because the team actually is like somewhat solid as far as what they've been doing. It's tough because these types of projects feel like a Ponzi without a Ponzi.
All right, so that's a sell from Easy. Kicks didn't know what it is. First glance, buy, sell, or send it to 0.
Signal. Over to you.
Okay, no, for me it's a sell, but only because it's like every time I see people talk about this project, it's always in context of what's happening over at 9gag and meme land there, and I'm kind of like, well, what are they doing? Like, what's going on in their ecosystem for them to drive the price outside of that? But yeah, for me, this one's a sell. And also, if you're going under that that 1 ETH play, I think some of the projects that we've already spoken about would be stronger buys under 1 ETH than compared to this. So it's a sell for me.
All righty, Bunny, Kubz.
No, I'm selling it too. It's up a bit from it was 0.63 like last week. I think some of that price action is from the Yoga Pets whitelist that Easy was talking about. So I think your room for profit is pretty slim. I'm laying off.
This feels like a Bunny project. I'm not surprised he gave it a legitimate analysis. Thank you for the insight, Bunny. That's a sell, it sounds like, from just about everybody on Kubz. So that's your edition of Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero, ladies and gentlemen. Just to remind you about today's show sponsor, Accointing. Oh, by the way, they sponsored the daily free NFT too. So if you go to the nifty.com, THENIFTY.com/claim right now, you're signed in, and you type in the mint password, crypto, tax, and then the number 7 for all you guessing jackasses out here. You're never going to guess it again. I'm going to put 9 numbers in the next one. Crypto, tax, and then the number 7. In honor of Accointing by Glassnode, today's sponsor. Tax season has been upon us. And like I said, Accointing is going to gather all of your crypto transaction records from the past year, including crypto trades, NFT purchases, airdrops, and other transactions. All you got to do is sync your wallet and exchanges to their platform, and you're good to go. Once it's imported, you can... so the text is messed up. It's supposed to be Bookkeeper Buddy. We're going to get developer Nick.
Buddy.
Bookkeeper Buddy, not Bookkeeper Buddy.
We betting out here.
Dude, that looks awesome, though. I love the art on that. That's fantastic. Also, on the password side, I feel like Pio's going to be having seed phrases of the password pretty soon. He's going to make these things unhackable.
I mean, 2 days in a row, we had someone guessing it, and it's just unacceptable. And I took it personally. The description of the NFT is meet Bookkeeper Buddy, the tired but dedicated accountant who's been crunching numbers all day. With his glasses askew and his visor on tight, Bookkeeper Buddy's been working so hard, he might need an accountant of his own. The NFT is brought to you by Accointing on Glassnode, and you can go to the link that's pinned to the top for a 40% discount on Accointing by Glassnode to get that detailed summary of your gains and losses, to automatically be able to submit your crypto taxes through H&R Block, TurboTax, or whatever you use, or Cash App, or just your accountant. Sign up for Accointing. You need it, and less than 25 transactions is free. For American, Australian, and English customers, you get a 40% discount if you go to the pinned link at the top. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Clemente, did I miss anything, buddy? That's it. That's a wrap, folks. If you are just listening for the first time, we run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week, where we discuss all things crypto, NFTs, technology, entertainment, gaming, and everything in between. Shout out to everybody on the show. What a banger it was. Tomorrow, you won't have to deal with me. You'll just have Nick on the show with the gang. So hope you enjoy that. Anyway, we will catch you guys next time. Thanks so much for listening. See you later.
Like when my mom and dad got a divorce.
No.